Hi everyone, the Random Home Cook here. Today I will cook porcini mushroom risotto, a recipe that I mentioned in the sausage risotto video as vegetarian alternative. Both recipes are in the rice dishes playlist. The main ingredient is, of course, a handful of dried porcini mushrooms. This recipe is delicious and perfect to arrange a relatively quick meal for family and guests. But let's get cooking. Ingredients for 2-3 people are a handful of porcini mushrooms. I usually use dried as they are always available in the house. If I have fresh ones, even better. I tried to use other mushrooms to save on the cost of porcini, but the result is not the same. However, it can be done, it depends on what is available. A pinch of dry saffron. Sometimes, if I don't have saffron, I use turmeric. The result is not the same, but equally delicious. About 1.5 liters of fresh stock. It can be either vegetable stock, if I want this to be vegetarian, or chicken stock. I think in this case the vegetarian stock is best, but today I have fresh chicken stock available, so I use this one instead. If I don't have fresh stock, I use the stock cubes dissolved in hot water. A finely chopped onion, bay leaves, a clove of garlic, extra virgin olive oil, half a glass of still white wine, about 200-250 grams of rice, best if short grain like arborio or paella rice, Parmesan cheese, a few handfuls, a nut of butter, and a pinch of finely chopped parsley, which I forgot to take a picture so you won't see it. First, I soak the dry mushrooms in hot water for 10 minutes. Longer, if I have time, it is better. When softened, I slightly squeeze the mushrooms by hand to drain the water. In this way, I make sure any unwanted debris get washed away. In a glass, I mix the dry saffron with hot water and set it aside for 15-30 minutes. Finally, I warm up the stock. It needs to be boiling when added to the rice. Done with these preparations, I put a large pan on a high heat hob. I use a non-stick pan. I warm up some olive oil, add bay leaves and chopped onion, and I start stirring. I add a pinch of salt for the onion. I will add more salt to season the mushrooms and rice. I keep a close eye on the onion to avoid burning it. If needed, I lower the heat. While the onion cooks, I finely chop the soaked mushrooms and garlic, 1 or 2 cloves. I use a mini food chopper to speed the process, but it can be done by hand on a chopping board using a knife. Be careful using knives. Once the onion is golden, clear and tender, it is time to add the parsley, chopped mushrooms and garlic. It is possible that this mix will stick to the pan, even if it is a non-stick pan. So I keep stirring and tossing to avoid this. Then I add a pinch of black pepper, even a chili if we want it spicy. When the mushrooms are cooked, I add a splash of still white wine and I let the alcohol evaporate completely to avoid bitter taste. As the liquid reduces to nearly a cream, it is time to add the rice. I add salt to season the rice and mix it well. I let the rice toast for a little. This is a key step for a delicious risotto. Now I can add the stock and start cooking the rice. Little by little, I add more stock to the pan and stir repeatedly. As it consumes, I add more stock slowly without exceeding the level of the rice. If the risotto looks to bubble too much, I lower the heat to avoid burning the rice. In this way, the rice cooks slowly, absorbing the other ingredients' taste. All the different aroma will join together, making the risotto very good. Every 5 to 10 minutes, I check on the rice and the stock level, giving a stir each time. Occasionally, I taste it to check the cooking progress. If I'm in a hurry and I want the rice to cook faster, I usually cover it with a lid while it cooks. When the rice looks almost done, I stop adding stock. At this point, I add the saffron previously soaked in water. I mix it well with the rice and let it simmer for a few minutes, giving the occasional stir. After a couple of minutes, I check again on the rice to see if it is ready. We like our risotto not too dry or sticky, but not watery, so we let it cook until it reaches a smooth texture. Anyhow, it will taste amazing regardless. Once the rice is done, I close the hob and add the butter. I let it melt a little bit and I add the Parmesan cheese. And now it's ready to be served with another sprinkle of cheese. And this is the end result. If you liked this video and you would like to see more, consider clicking subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new videos. See you next time. If you have suggestions on how we can improve the quality of the video and channel, please let us know in the comment section.